Welcome back, everyone. We've got something really cool to dig into today. A look at what was trending online globally way back at the start of 2025. It's kind of like a digital time capsule. We're talking about the Traffic is People report. I'm really excited to have our expert here to break it all down.
Thanks. It's great to be here.
So this Traffic is People report, it's not just some random opinions, right? This is all about hard data.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. This report, what is in mind January 2025? It's all about the numbers. We're looking at what people all over the world are actually clicking on, reading, watching, all of it.
So it's really a snapshot of the global online mindset right at the start of last year.
You got it.
Okay, so let's jump right into the good stuff. Top 5 content categories. What was grabbing everyone's attention online globally in January 2025?
Well, coming in at the top, we have computer and electronics, always a big one.
Mm-hmm.
Then we've got news, of course.
Yep.
Adult content is right up there, too, and arts and entertainment. And then rounding out the top 5, we've got shopping.
Computer and electronics and news, those seem pretty much a given these days. I mean, everybody's online. Everybody wants the latest gadgets, the latest news.
You're absolutely right. The report highlights the consistent global interest in computer and electronics, and news is always up there. It shows how connected we are, how much we rely on getting information constantly.
Okay, so those two, not a huge surprise. But shopping in the top 5 globally, that's kind of interesting. I wouldn't have necessarily guessed that.
Yeah, it is interesting, isn't it? And the report actually points this out as something worth taking a closer look at.
So we're looking at these big global trends, but I bet things look pretty different when you zoom in on specific parts of the world.
Right, you are spot on. When we start looking at regions, that's where things get really interesting. That's where you see how local interests really shape what's happening online.
All right, so let's take a trip around the world here. Let's start with South America. What were people in South America clicking on back in January 2025?
Okay, so in South America, the top 5 look like this. We have computer and electronics and news again, no surprise there.
Hmm.
But then it's shopping, then adult, and arts and entertainment.
So shopping makes another appearance. It seems like a pretty big deal in South America. Is that much different from the global picture?
Well, the interesting thing here is that shopping is right up there at number 3 in South America. It's a key observation for the region, according to the report. It makes you wonder what was going on there at the beginning of last year. Maybe those post-holiday sales were still going strong. Or maybe it has something to do with specific things people buy in South America in January, like, seasonal stuff.
Yeah, that's a good point. Post-holiday sales, those can drag on for a while. Okay, so South America loves to shop online. What about their neighbors to the north? What was going on in North America?
Well, you ready for this? It's almost the exact same as South America. North America's top 5 are computer and electronics, news, shopping, adult, and arts and entertainment.
Wow. So shopping is big in North America too. It kind of feels like something big must have been happening across both continents, some kind of consumer trend, maybe?
That's exactly what the report suggests. This similarity in North and South America, it really points to some kind of shared mindset among consumers in the Americas at the start of 2025. It would be interesting to dig a little deeper and see if there were any economic factors or even cultural things going on that could explain this.
Fascinating. All right, let's hop over to the other side of the world now. What about Asia Pacific? Huge region, lots of different cultures. What were they into online?
So for Asia Pacific, it's computer and electronics, and then news, just like everywhere else. But then arts and entertainment is pretty big there. After that comes adult content, and then finally shopping comes in at number 5.
So shopping is still in the top 5 for Asia Pacific, but it's not quite as big as it was in the Americas.
Exactly. The report calls this relatively balanced interest across the content types. Asia Pacific has that mix of super high-tech areas and then places that are still developing, plus all those different cultures. So it's not surprising that their online interests are a little more spread out.
Okay, one last stop on our world tour. Let's go to Europe, Middle East, and Africa. What's the EMEA region focused on online?
All right, so for EMEA, it's computer and electronics, news, arts and entertainment, then shopping. And number 5, adult content.
Interesting. The order is a bit different in EMEA. Adult content drops to the bottom of the top 5 there. Any clues in the report about why these regions might have different interests?
The report kind of hints that these regional differences probably come down to things like cultural norms.
Yeah.
What's considered acceptable in one place might not be in another. It doesn't get super specific about why the order of the categories is different in each region, but it does say that EMEA's online interests are pretty similar to the global average overall. It's like the ingredients are all the same, but each region has its own recipe.
So, no matter where you go in the world, people are interested in tech, news, entertainment, and of course, especially in some places, shopping. Now, I know some of you listening might be thinking, okay, this is all cool, but what does it actually mean for me? The report actually talks about how you can use this info for marketing.
Right. It
Yeah.
does. It has some advice based on these trends from January 2025. The first thing it says is focus on the stuff that's always popular, like computer and electronics, news and entertainment. Those are the big ones, the things that are going to get you the biggest audience no matter where you are in the world.
Makes sense. If everybody's looking at something, that's where you want to be. So what else does the report recommend?
Well, remember how we saw that huge interest in shopping in both North and South America? The report says you should definitely pay attention to that if you're trying to reach people in those regions. Think about things like special deals or even creating content that focuses on the things people want to buy at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
It's not just about doing more marketing. It's about making your marketing relevant to what people are already interested in.
So a global strategy for some things, but also a more targeted regional approach for others.
Got it. What if you have a campaign that you want to run everywhere, worldwide?
For a global campaign, the report suggests sticking with those topics that are universally popular, like no matter where you go, people are interested in computer and electronics and news. Those are good bets for reaching the widest audience.
So, big picture. What's the main takeaway from all this data about what was going on online in January 2025? The big conclusion from the Traffic is People report is that at the start of 2025, the online world was really all about technology, information, entertainment, and surprisingly, shopping. And while the order of those things might be a little different depending on where you are in the world, the basic trends are pretty much the same everywhere.
So basically, as 2025 was kicking off, people were checking the news, watching movies, shopping for deals, and geeking out over the latest gadgets. It's amazing to see what people were actually doing online, just laid out there in the data.
It's pretty cool. It really gives you a sense of what was on everyone's minds back then.
This has been a super interesting look at what was trending online in January 2025. We saw that tech and news are still huge, entertainment and adult content are always up there, and there's a surprisingly big interest in shopping in some parts of the world. But
Yeah.
it really makes you think, if these were the big trends at the very beginning of the year, what does that tell us about what people were thinking about and what they cared about as the year went on? What specific areas within these categories really took off as the months went by? I guess we'll have to wait and see.